All right, hello. So we are here in our Science HB video assignment 3B. So Unit 3, Video 2. We are to continue on talking about our balloon car. In the last video assignment, you did research on how Newton's laws can affect your car. And this section is focusing on final modification pre-lab. All right, here's your background once again, talking about how Newton's laws use forces and how they impact an object's motion. We talked about force equals mass times acceleration. That is focusing on Newton's second law. Newton's third law is every action has an equal and opposite reaction. And we were focusing how these Newton's laws can be applied to your balloon car and how to make it go faster. Project objective, just like I said, use Newton's laws to redesign your balloon car and to make it move faster than it did in experiment 1 and 2. So before we start going on this section, we want you to write a hypothesis. So remember, a hypothesis is going to be an educated guess based on the information you have about what the outcome is going to be. So write and test a hypothesis that answers the following experimental question. So it's giving you some guidelines here. How will you use your understanding of Newton's laws to make your balloon car faster than it was in experiments 1 and 2? Things that you need to remember when writing a hypothesis are these things down here that are in bullet points. So um, if you go back to the actual assignment screen, there'll be a little button down here that says, like, how to write a hypothesis or more information about writing hypotheses. And you can click on that, and that'll give you some more information on formatting and things like that. But remember, a hypothesis is an if then statement. If blank happens, then blank will happen. Okay. It's also can involve your independent and dependent variables. So remember that a hypothesis must clearly state the following. What is being tested? Okay, so obviously we are testing our balloon car's speed. Statement must be measurable. Can we measure its speed? Yes, right, over distance and time. The predicted outcome. The outcome must be in terms of the thing being tested. So like if I use Newton's second law, then my balloon car will go faster than the previous experiments. A possible explanation. Why do you think that will happen? Um, if I use Newton's second law, then my car will go faster because I will have changed the mass of my car. Okay, that's just an example. There's lots of different potential hypotheses here. Pre-lab, remember in the last video assignment I told you, write these things down in your notes because you would need to come back to them later on, and here we are. So, pre-lab, look back at your notes on how Newton's laws apply to the motion of your car. You will need to plan out how to use these ideas to improve your car. You only need to use one of Newton's laws to modify your car, not both. Okay, so we want to make it a little bit easier on you. So just use Newton's second law or Newton's third law. Complete the following tasks before starting your project. So determine plans for making improvements to your car, choose materials you need to make those improvements, and gather all of those materials together. So you're going to build your balloon car. You're going to either change some things out or use different materials. Okay. You'll need to complete a few trial runs to make sure the car moves forward in a straight line and you're able to collect data as expected. Also, you'll be completing the following during your trial runs. Make sure the balloon is going forward and see if you need to make any adjustments. So, like early on in the very beginning of this balloon car project, my car liked to veer to the left. Okay, so things like that are adjustments you want to make before you start collecting your data. So here we have project summary for calculating change in position over time, as well as change in velocity over time. So these are once again the same set of procedures that we've done twice before. Okay, it's going to tell you to start at the start line, Once you let your balloon car go, also start your timer. Okay, mark your car position at multiple times, measure those, right? And then we have data tables that you can fill those in that are also provided for you in the lab section. All right, what are you going to do next? You're going to make improvements to your balloon car if needed. If your balloon car is already awesome, keep it that way. Record data about the car's velocity in your notes. Okay, so once you start taking recording data from trial runs, make sure you record that data. You're going to create the two graphs again, a position time graph and a velocity time graph, and answer the lab write-up questions. So all you need to submit for this part of the assignment, these are just things that you're going to be working through kind of throughout the next week. Number one, you're going to write the hypothesis you will test in this experiment. Okay, that if-then statement. Number two, how do you plan to test your hypothesis? How are you going to see if your educated guess is correct or not? And three, what variables are you changing in order to test your hypothesis? Okay, so these are going to be independent variables because you change the independent variable and you measure the dependent variable. All right, any questions? Feel free to reach out to me. Have fun.